Hello, this is Lew White again. I hope you like and subscribe to these videos because we're looking at words and translations and transliterations, and they're going to help you regroup your mind from the programming that you've endured. The whole world has learned to speak English because of the King James Version, which is a Latin Vulgate translation into English. And the Catholics, some of whom the Anglican Catholics are, and still remain Anglican Catholic, all they did was basically rebel against the authority of the papacy, but they remain Catholics even to this day. All the things that they do, the customs, they don't do anything Yahusha told them to do. And we need to take off the rose-colored sunglasses, for sure, and stop looking at things through the eyes of men who were disobedient. The ones that didn't obey the commandments and translated these scriptures for you were disobedient men. They didn't know Yahuwah, and Yahuwah doesn't know them, but they still continue to teach. When you obey the commandments, then you're truly his taught ones, and you are truly his disciples, and you'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free from men's teachings, all the programming. That's what we're talking about in chapter 8 of Yahushua or John. They can't get the names right because they're afraid somebody might think, hey, that's not Greek. Well, the Natsarim weren't Greeks, and they certainly weren't Christians. People have inherited nothing but errors and falsehoods, and they've been deceived. When you obey the commandments and you learn his name, which is one of the commandments, then you know the truth, and the truth sets you free from men's lies. That's all they are, they're lies. We're being deceived by teachers who don't know him. And they they rage, the nations rage against Yahuwah and his son, the one that became flesh. We're going to look at the phrase, I am that I am, and why it's flawed. It's not a good translation at all, but everybody has that in their translation. If you read the preface, you'll see that they removed his name. I keep repeating this because there's new people that don't know this. Read your preface and look at what the translators removed from you. Now we're going to go into this teaching and look at a flawed translation and how to correct that. Just hold on. The phrase, I am that I am, is a flawed translation. The transliteration of the word AHAYAH is a word used in the inspired scriptures, and its concordance number H1961. In Hebrew it's spelled Aleph, Hey, Yod, Hey. And the meaning of this word is, I will be. The phrase AHAYAH, Asher AHAYAH, means I will be who I will be. It doesn't mean I am that I am. Our Creator declared his one name through the prophets at least 6,823 times as Yahuwah, which is concordance number H3068. Now, at Yeshayahu, or Isaiah 52:6, we see this. Therefore, my people shall know my name in that day, for I am the one who is speaking. See, it is I. What we're dealing with here with this phrase, AHAYAH, Asher AHAYAH, is a response that Yahuwah made while he was manifesting to Moshe in the burning bush at Exodus, or Shemoth, chapter 3. And Musha had just asked him, in case they ask me what his name is, who sent me, what shall I say to them? He was asking them what his name was. Of course, Musha probably already knew, because Musha's mother had a name that was based upon the name of Yahuwah. And while they were in captivity in Egypt, or Mitzrayim, they were there for over 400 years. And a lot of the people didn't know his name, but some of them did. So the test that Musha was trying to basically not test Yahuwah, but in case he was tested about who was sent to him, it was Yahuwah who was sending him, not AHAYAH. Even though Yahuwah responded, oh, they want me to change the color scheme? I think not. That happens a lot. Anyway, the idea that Musha was basically taking time to ask Yahuwah, in case they ask me what his name is, who is the one that sent me. He wanted to make sure, and he said his name was Yahuwah. And when he was saying AHAYAH, Asher AHAYAH, he was just saying, I will be who I will be. But he wasn't saying I was going to be AHAYAH. That's a new teaching that's been floating around on the internet. And that's just untrue. Anyway, the name of Yahuwah is used at least 6,823 times in the inspired prophets. It's not Bel, which is a word in Hebrew that means Lord. It's spelled Beth, Ayin, Lamed, and it's Hebrew concordance number H1167. Try to test things that you hear, and these numbers that you see being used are starting to pop up in other teaching videos, not just mine, but others, to prove what they're saying. The H stands for Hebrew, and the 1167 is a specific number that's assigned to the word that's used in the scriptures. And that's good. That's a wonderful thing. So let's begin to research a little bit on our own, to do a lot of research on your own so that he can teach you. Obey his commandments and be the bride. Now, if you don't obey his commandments and you still try to search for truth, but you're not obeying his commandments, then you're out of step. You will seek the truth but not find it, because the truth is not in you, because you don't obey. But when you start obeying the commandments and test him, and he says, test me in this to see if I will reveal myself to you or not. You know, test me. Obey my Sabbath, my seventh-day Sabbath. It has nothing to do with the moon. That's how people are getting carried away by false teachings. It has to do with the 7 days that creation started with. And it's a never-ending, repeating heartbeat. It doesn't stop. New moon to new moon means the whole span of the month. And from Sabbath to Sabbath, this is separate. It's not connected to the month. It has to do with the first week of creation. Every seventh day is Yahuwah's day of rest for us. And that's being maligned. The way of truth is being maligned as evil. I saw a video recently where someone who said that the Saturday, the name that the Latin people, the Romans, used to call the seventh day, has to do with a planet or a deity of theirs, and that those who rest on the seventh day of the week are obeying Satan. What? You know, the adversary will do anything and everything to malign the way of truth. Just because the adversary named the day, the Sabbath day, Saturday. That doesn't mean that we're worshiping Satan because we are obeying the commandment. Obey the commandments and be the bride. The bride is going to be obedient or not be the bride. So don't fall for false teachings. And thank you for watching this, and like and subscribe and share it if you find any truth in it. And we'll see you in the next exciting video. Bye.